A huge, huge ruling in Paul Walker's death. You know that there are several lawsuits, one by Paul's daughter, also by the driver of the Porsche, Roger Rodas, his widow, that filed the lawsuit, and there is now a ruling on hers, on her particular lawsuit.
And this was a gigantic defeat for her, and a victory for Porsche.
That's exactly right, Harvey. So the judge actually threw out Christine Rodas. She's the widow of Roger Rodas, who was riding in the car, or driving the car that Paul died in. And they threw it out, said there were 4 arguments that she made. She said, this is a design defect. There was the side impact wasn't good enough on the car.
We're talking about a 2005 Carrera GT, which is the car that they died in.
Exactly right. So they said there's a bunch of design defects. So they sued Porsche and said the side impact wasn't up to snuff. The car wasn't sturdy enough to withstand internal intrusions, and that a fuel cell was compromised. And the court didn't buy any of it. They said, first of all, your expert's no good, and contradicted himself. But more to the point, they said, that Roger didn't die from burning up, from a fuel cell being compromised during the crash. He died basically on impact when he was hurled into Paul Walker.
Which is something I had never heard before, that the two of them somehow collided together, and that impact could have been the fatal impact, at least on Roger Rodas. And the court is saying there's no evidence that any possible design defect would have caused this. So the judge has completely thrown out the widow's case. And now the question is, what impact is that going to have on Meadow, Paul's daughter, suing Porsche for exactly the same thing?
Meadow's lawsuit made a lot of the same made a lot of the same accusations, right, about the Porsche.
That's exactly right. I think it could have a huge impact because these are the same types of design defects, and if one judge saw it this way, it's hard to believe that this isn't at least a bad sign for how Meadow's case is going to go.
So, you know, this is, at some point, the question is, who do you sue? And Porsche has the deep pockets where they could get some money, and beyond that, it's really unclear. This was a single-car crash.
Now, I will say there's one caveat, though. Meadow's case is going to be about Paul Walker, and the details of how he died specifically, what impact, whether he burned at all. There was some speculation that he burned to death. It's a little different than Roger Rodas, so we'll see.
It's shaky based on what we saw in this case, but this was a square victory for Porsche.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. It's Brian here in Dallas. As tragic as this is, I think the judge did fare the right way. I think it becomes a personal responsibility. Now, both these drivers were highly trained race car drivers in purposes. So I think they did rule in the right direction. It was not any defect from the manufacturer himself, but rather personal responsibility. Now, there were conflicting reports, guys, that the speed ranged from 61 to 93.
That's right.
So where the wreck took place is very important here. But both these guys, let's not play any bones about it. They both are highly skilled race car drivers, and I think, you know what, guys, I hate to say it, it's just user error here.
Well, that's certainly one of the things that Porsche was arguing here, that this was just racing too fast in an area where you shouldn't be doing it.
It wasn't a track, right.